Sherganj, a village shrouded in shadow even on the brightest day. The villagers, weathered and wary, spoke of a curse. Their whispers told of a fort, ancient and brooding, that loomed over their lives. No one dared approach it, not anymore. The fort was a relic of a forgotten era, its crumbling walls holding centuries of secrets. Vines, thick as pythons, snaked around its towers, reaching for a sky they could never touch. The iron gates, rusted and groaning, stood as a grim warning. Beyond them lay only darkness and the whispers of the dead. The villagers told tales, tales of those who had dared to enter the fort, never to return. Their laughter, once echoing through the village, was now silenced, replaced by the mournful sigh of the wind whistling through the fort's broken windows. Sherganj was a village holding its breath, forever living in the shadow of the fort's dark legend. Arjun was different. Young and fearless, he scoffed at the villagers' tales. He craved adventure, his heart thrumming with the desire to unravel the fort's mysteries. Arjun saw not fear, but a challenge, a chance to prove his bravery. The elders warned him. The fort hungers, they said, their eyes wide with terror. It feeds on the curious, the foolish, but Arjun wouldn't listen. He dismissed their warnings as the ramblings of old men, their minds clouded by superstition.
I won't let old legends scare me. I need to know what's inside that fort.
He had heard the whispers, the chilling tales of vanished souls and eerie lights dancing within the fort's crumbling walls. Yet he felt a strange pull towards it, a siren song that beckoned him closer. He was determined to uncover the truth, to separate fact from folklore. Little did he know the fort awaited him, its depths hiding a truth more terrifying than any tale. The night was moonless, the sky a black canvas splattered with stars, when Arjun decided to venture into the fort. He felt a thrill course through him, a mixture of fear and exhilaration. The village, shrouded in an uneasy silence, slept unaware of his departure. He stood before the imposing iron gates, their cold metal biting into his flesh. A low groan escaped the hinges as he pushed them open, the sound echoing in the stillness of the night. The air grew heavy, thick with the scent of decay and the weight of unseen eyes.
This is it. No turning back now.
As he stepped inside, a cold wind slammed the gates shut with a resounding clang. Arjun was plunged into darkness, the only sound his own ragged breathing and the frantic thumping of his heart. He fumbled for his flashlight, its beam cutting through the oppressive darkness, revealing a path strewn with rubble and overgrown with weeds. He took a deep breath, steeling himself for the unknown that lay ahead. The fort's interior was a labyrinth of crumbling archways, shadowy corridors and rooms that seemed to absorb the light. Each step was an echo in the silence, each rustle of leaves in the courtyard a whisper of something unseen. Arjun pressed on, his hand trailing along the rough walls, cold and damp against his palm. He entered a vast hall, its ceiling open to the night sky. Moonlight spilled through the gaps, casting long, dancing shadows. A chill ran down his spine as he noticed the remnants of a grand feast, long decayed. The air hung heavy with the spectral remnants of laughter and music, now replaced by an unsettling stillness.
What happened here? It's like time just stopped.
He continued his exploration, each room revealing further evidence of a life lived and lost. A child's doll lay discarded in a corner, its porcelain face cracked and vacant. A dusty portrait hung askew on the wall, the eyes of the nobleman in the painting seeming to follow Arjun's every move. The fort was a graveyard of memories, each artifact whispering a silent story of its former inhabitants. A soft sob echoed through the desolate hallway.
Gasps.
Arjun froze, his blood turning to ice. He strained to listen, his heart pounding against his ribs. The sound came again, a mournful wail that seemed to seep from the very stones of the fort.
Whispering, what is that?
Hesitantly, he followed the sound, his flashlight beam trembling. It led him to a small chamber, its entrance shrouded in cobwebs. As he brushed them aside, he saw her. A woman, her form shimmering like moonlight on water, sat weeping in the center of the room. Her hair, long and black, cascaded down her back, obscuring her face. She wore a white gown, its edges tattered and stained with what looked like blood. Her shoulders shook with the force of her sobs, each one sending a fresh wave of terror through Arjun.
Softly. No way, this can't be real.
He had never believed in ghosts, but the sight before him defied all logic, all reason. Gathering his courage, Arjun took a step closer.
Who are you?
He asked, his voice a dry rasp in the silence. The woman looked up, her face obscured by a veil of shadows. He could sense her pain, her despair, reaching out to him like icy fingers.
Help me.
She whispered, her voice a mournful echo.
Please help me find my son.
Her words, filled with a mother's anguish, sent shivers down Arjun's spine. He wanted to run, to escape the spectral apparition and the chilling aura that surrounded her. But something held him there, a strange mix of fear and pity.
What happened?
He asked, his voice barely a whisper. The woman's form flickered, her sorrow almost tangible. She began to speak, her voice a low threnody that seemed to weave itself around Arjun, drawing him deeper into her tale of betrayal, loss, and a mother's desperate search for her stolen child. Section 7, A Glimmer in the Darkness.
My name is Mira. My husband, a powerful king, was betrayed and murdered within these very walls. Our infant son, the rightful heir, vanished that same night. I believe he's still trapped within the fort, hidden by those who orchestrated my husband's downfall. I've been searching for him for centuries, my spirit bound to this place, unable to find peace until my son is safe. Please, help me find him and break the curse that holds me captive. I promise you riches beyond imagination, a king's ransom, if you agree.
Arjun, though still afraid, felt a surge of sympathy for the grieving mother. He thought of his own mother, her love and warmth a stark contrast to the chilling despair that emanated from Mira. He knew he couldn't leave her like this. Section 8, Ensnared.
He's in there. Please, you must hurry.
Arjun, his heart pounding in his chest, nodded, his earlier fear giving way to a sense of purpose. He followed Mira's spectral form deeper into the labyrinthine fort. The air grew colder, the shadows more oppressive, but he pressed on, driven by a promise and a growing sense of unease. He could feel a presence ahead, a darkness that seemed to pulse with a life of its own. As they ventured deeper, a sense of dread washed over Arjun. He realized he could no longer hear the wind whistling through the broken windows, nor the rustle of leaves in the courtyard. The only sound was the soft whisper of Mira's voice, urging him forward. He was trapped, alone in the belly of the beast, with only a ghost as his guide. Section 9, The Vanishing. Arjun stopped, his breath catching in his throat. He spun around, searching for Mira, but she was gone. The corridor was empty, the only light emanating from his trembling flashlight beam. Panic welled up inside him, cold and suffocating. He had been a fool to trust her, to trust any of it.
Mira?
Silence. He was alone. He turned to retrace his steps, but the corridor seemed to stretch endlessly before him, the walls closing in. He ran, his heart pounding against his ribs, but the exit remained elusive. He was lost, hopelessly and utterly lost, trapped within the bowels of the cursed fort. Just as the villagers had warned, the fort had claimed another victim, its hunger for souls far from sated. Arjun had become another whisper in the wind, another chilling tale to keep the villagers awake at night. Section 10, Forever Lost. The villagers searched for Arjun, their torches bobbing like fireflies in the night. They found no trace of him, no sign of his struggle, no indication of his fate. He had vanished, swallowed whole by the fort's darkness, just like those who had come before him. The fort stood silent, its shadow stretching long and dark over the village. The villagers, their faces etched with fear and resignation, knew the truth. Arjun was gone, claimed by the same malevolent force that haunted the fort's crumbling walls.
He's gone. The fort has taken him.
Just like the others. We should have warned him better.
The legend of Sherganj and its cursed fort lived on, a chilling reminder of the darkness that lurked beneath the surface. And within its depths, trapped between the realm of the living and the dead, Arjun searched endlessly for a way out, his cries for help lost in the echo of Mira's mournful sobs, a chilling symphony of despair that echoed through the ages.